So you want this pocket or those numbers?
Recording in progress.
That's the voice I want to hear. Okay, I'll call the meeting of the Morrow County Clean Water Consortium to order. And first item on our agenda, do you need the introduction on the Zoom? Okay. First item on the agenda is our minutes. Has everybody had a chance for the April 14th minutes? Take a look at them.
They look fine to me. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Can I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Moved and second, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carried. Okay, we'll go right into our consent agenda. And I have two items, A and B there. You can see approval of invoices and monthly financial report. Is everybody good to go with consent on that, or do you want to pull one of them out?
Ask a question, or if I ask a question, does it have to go to a business item?
Normally it does, because then you get into answers.
Whole discussion.
Yeah,
I just had, I don't have any problem with it, but just a point of clarification. It looks like we split the cost of the spring conference. Was that with the city of Umatilla? Okay, I think that looked fair to me. That was really my only question. It sounded, after I read your report, it made sense, so. I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, and I hear a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carried. Okay. For it, what?
Paid, so I haven't been paid in a couple months, so.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, our business items, first one up is managing director report. That's Jared.
Yeah, I mean, you could read the full report. Highlights, a lot of my time has been consumed with the public records request, as you all know, but I think I have that all pretty much done, and we'll be delivering that or getting that to our requestee by tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
And I did attend the League of Oregon Cities Conference in Pendleton that was split with Umatilla. And I'm glad I went. Again, always opportunities to network and to learn things in terms of for the consortium. I got up to date and met people with Business Oregon in particular. And also Courtney was there, our contact with the governor's office, and a handful of other people. So it was very helpful for me, and so I appreciate that opportunity. Also attended the drinking water roadmap public meeting, and had contact actually for one reason or another with most of our elected representatives, the state and local level, or state and national level. So the offices of Greg Smith, Governor Kotek, Senators Wyden and Markley. So, which kind of brings me to the next piece. The update on our community initiated project request, that's the congressional directed spending. I got an email this last week saying that one of our project requests have made it through to the Interior Senate Appropriations Subcommittee. So there's still a long road ahead, but any news is good news when it comes to those. And so that is the project, because we submitted two project requests, and that one was the one specifically to serve clusters of residents in outlying areas who are not, so a development, a feasibility or pilot project around kind of a small water system.
Nice. And what was the value on that one? That we were.
I think it was like 2 million, I want to say. So.
Okay, thank you. I thought that's what I thought.
Something like, I'd have to go back and look.
Yeah, no, fine. Yeah, that's right. You shared those with us, sir. Well done.
Yeah. And then I've also spent a lot of time just getting ready for the Boardman City Council workshop tomorrow. Matt and I are guests at the workshop tomorrow to present some West Glen options, if you will. We're not necessarily looking for them to approve and pick one, but as an opportunity to answer questions and to really see where they are at and to get an agreement in principle at least so that we can continue to move forward, because there's a lot of ways it could go in terms of, and so we need to kind of narrow that down so we can get engineering done and so that I have something to talk with residents in West Glen about. So that them adopting rates was kind of the first, the needed piece that's been done now, so we can have this conversation with them. So yeah, that's tomorrow evening, and if you were gonna be there, great. Not, it is just their workshop. So it is a public meeting, but there is no public comment, so just heads up about that.
And remind me again, the rates, did they have a stepped up rate or a bifurcated system? So for residents and non-residents?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, they
Okay.
do. Yeah,
Oh, they do now?
Yes,
Didn't discuss it.
yeah, I believe so, but the way it's published, they've already published those rates. I mean, it's right there in the North Morrow Times, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I always read the North Morrow Times. Probably sitting right out here.
Yeah, there were, that's why I just saw them sitting and
me too.
I'm like, oh,
Okay.
hey, there it is, right there. So,
I don't always, but I should.
no, it's okay.
Great, thank you for that.
I can't get a subscription because I don't live in Morrow Times.
Well, they're.
I have to read it online, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so that's, again, there's more in there if you want to read, but that's, I'll have your report.
Any questions, Joe? I got a quick question.
Yeah.
When I was reading the minutes here, that I read the part about you visiting, with, Senator Wyden in Merkley's office, and the meeting went from 30 minutes to 90.
Mhm.
That's a good sign.
That is a good sign.
And, I was wondering if maybe you could kind of fill us in on what they're interested in and what, what their feelings are about the whole thing.
Well, this is the 30 to 90 minutes was with Senator Wyden's office more specifically, and she, Sydney, asked just more context of everything. She specifically is the infrastructure staffer, and she's been doing it for several years. And her specialty, actually, even though she's over all infrastructure, her specialty is water. And she wanted to know more about the Guama, and about what we were doing and have done, the nature of the two projects. And so again, just a lot of questions. It wasn't just me presenting, but a lot of great questions. And she was very excited and thought that these were, she appreciated the creative approach, particularly to our second set. Our second request was for to make home improvements to people's homes using HUD as an option, because that legally allows you to do private improvements. And so it was just really good in that regard. And you're right. I even asked about an hour in, I go, I know I was only scheduled with 30 minutes, so I don't want to.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, no, you're fine. Just let's continue to have, I know I have more questions, so.
Did you get the feeling from that there's more that we could do to make sure that they understand exactly what we're doing and where we're positioned? Or do you think they had a good, the staff?
I think Merkley staff was pretty well versed, like she had referenced even the Morrow County one from the previous year, so I think they're well versed, and I am reaching out monthly or regularly anyway, just that's my job, right? So just keeping eyes on it and
Right.
bugging them. So
So at the state level, are you mainly talking to?
just Representative Smith.
Directly?
Yeah, I've reached out to Senator, our senator's office, and I've talked to him in person back in March, but that's the limit of what I've been able to, outside of the communication's only ever been one way with his office, so.
Just wondering if there's anything we could do to make sure that they're educated, I don't know, it's Courtney Kroll, would she?
Yeah, Courtney is the
Yeah.
governor's office, and we
Yeah.
have a monthly kind of standing meeting with her. And she was at the League of Organizations too, so we talked for a while and I actually introduced her to a few other people.
Okay.
We're excited, so she in fact, she saw me across the room and came up to me, so I was like, hey, that's a good sign.
It is very good to hear that, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions of Jared on this report?
Were you gonna cover page 2? Of your report? Putting pipes in the ground.
Oh,
That's what you talked about.
that's what I talked the Boardman
tomorrow. Okay.
presentation, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay.
Just a comment, but there's nothing about rates for outside the city limits in here, though.
Oh, it's not?
No, it just is commercial, residential, commercial, schools and churches.
Okay,
I don't wanna quote it, but I think they said 150.
yeah.
150%. Okay.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
There's-
150%.
Sorry, I didn't look, I just saw the title, so I didn't look at what was published on it, so.
That's not surprising, the rate.
It's industry standard.
All right, anything else? Fair chair? Okay. We got our next one up would be our Amazon settlement update.
Yeah, there is no update. We've, like I said before, Eileen got back to me and just said, hey, they still haven't responded to any of our requests, just for additional information. So she asked if she needed to continue to pursue that in other means or ways or not. And I know our conversation last time, we were kind of like, push pause, but information is good. So I just need to know if you want me and her to continue to pursue that or not. And if so, a motion would be great. If not, status quo, and we'll leave them alone until we find more on our own. So.
Well, myself, my feeling is you did the right thing. This group has to explore every opportunity for funding, you know. Just a letter, you know, is what it was. So I was in favor of what you did, and I don't know if there's anything else you could do as follow-up, but I'd say, why not? You know, this is what we're here for, to get these projects done. And if there might be funding available, I think we should take advantage of it, or at least make ourselves known. That's my feeling.
Do you have an expected timeline? Do you or Eileen know, when that decision might come out?
No, these things usually take months.
I would expect.
I heard October 4th.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that there's much spending money with, is it Eileen or Eileen? Eileen, okay.
Eileen, thank goodness.
Okay, I know, not your ex, yes, okay, I don't know that there's much more, except if she's on the notification list when the decision is made public, that would be helpful.
Well, my thought would be, if the people on the board want him to come to us for approval to make another move, it just sounded like maybe that was the thinking.
Oh,
From last time, his authority to reach out. I just want to make sure that he has the ability to move quickly if it comes to that, if time is of the essence on one of these things. So,
And again, we have time, because we can't do anything about it until the settlement is actually agreed upon, and then it's in the judge's hands to determine where it then gets passed off on to somebody else to decide. So we have time. A decision doesn't have to be made tonight or anything. Eileen asked me hey, do you think the board, do we need to be authorized to continue to pursue this, to continue to bug them or not? And I can make an argument one way. I think I've had a conversation with each of you in some way, shape or form about it. And like you, if we can pursue funds, that's the only way we can get any of these projects done, is to have funds to do it. And so even if it has to be creative and but At the same time, I'm also cognizant of the fact that we are the county and the port, and there's lots of pieces to this, and the Amazon is just one piece. And I know their settlement complicates relationships with a larger region. And so I'm willing to work under your direction, whatever you would want me to do.
What if you were to do this? Just keep your eye on it,
Mhm.
and then if something comes up, call a board meeting.
Okay,
Does that sound reasonable to everybody?
yeah,
Before we.
Yeah, I don't
Make any
think that we
moves?
should wait until October 4th and then decide what
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
going to do. Because I think a lot of those decisions will be made before then.
that's true. I just want to make sure if like the settlements, the release set, the press release set, because that's really what we're going off of. The press release says that the majority of funds are going to be given to infrastructure projects.
Mhm.
And we are well positioned to do that for Morrow County. Anything else would have to be built from scratch. And that's where I see us in terms of the opportunity. If the majority of funds are gonna be there for that, can we have a role at the table to be able to say, hey, we're ready to receive those funds and do this work? So,
And that was for the entire La Palma region.
yeah, the settlement was for the entire Laguardia, correct? So it would just be the portion that whatever the judge determines is our portion would be. I mean, I'm speculating on what a judge would decide, so.
Do you feel that our inquiry, got to the correct, I don't know if to call them decision makers, but it got to the correct people that may be able to, decide this or have an influence on how it's decided?
But that is a great question. It's hard to know. The law firm that is doing this, as you guys know, is a big national, honestly, multinational law firm. This is what they specialize in, our class action suits with environmental pieces. I know Eileen reached out specifically to the attorney who was representing the parties, so who, and so she reached out specifically to the attorneys listed on the documents and to their secretaries, if you will. But again, the communication has only gone one way. We haven't heard anything that's up. So that's all I know at this point.
Mhm.
So I'd like to think they've at least gotten it, but in the legal world, maybe they're not allowed to say anything. I don't know, right? So I have a question. I'm not familiar with how class action lawsuits work. So if we weren't a party to the lawsuit, how do we access those funds? Is that typical? And I know I've seen publications of settlement agreements and, notify this law firm if you were exposed to asbestos or radiation, name that. Is that really how it works? So we would want to find out because we weren't a plaintiff.
Correct. So we're not receiving the money because we're a plaintiff. We would argue that we are the entity, the governmental or non-governmental entity that can meet the terms of the settlement, because that's what the settlement language says is one, that there's some that's going specifically to the plaintiffs and the majority of the money is going to infrastructure projects to fix this. And so that is what we are trying to advocate for. We didn't want to, so yes, that's what Eileen even told me is, because I said the same. I'm like, so we're not even party to that. Like, how does that?
Yeah.
She's like, no, but the process for this is actually, what will happen is this firm, okay, historically what happens is once the case is decided or the settlement is decided or whatever, they don't sit around and take care of dealing out the settlement issues, all the details. That a different law firm typically who specializes in that would then take that on, take their piece of the pie as well. And
The fund administrator.
correct. Yeah, and to administer the settlement agreement. And so that is actually kind of where we want to make sure we are at that table, is whoever is deciding that. But we don't know who that will be or anything. That's why we're just putting our name. That's what Eileen's intent was, to get more information and let them know, hey, there is an organization that is out here in Morrow County who are doing the very thing that you said that you're gonna put the money aside for. If that helps.
It does. I just have this conflicting philosophical thought about it, and it's probably premature to share. I certainly want to access any funds, but by accepting funds, are we endorsing the premise of the lawsuit?
I don't know. That's the politics of this that we have to all be aware of, and I am fully aware of and recognize. But I also recognize that we're not a taxing agency, meaning the consortium, right? And the only way we are gonna get funds is if people give us money or we access those funds to do these projects. Outside of us going to sue people, which I don't think that that's in anyone's best interest either, right? We're relying on public funds being granted us, or this would be the other potential option.
But there are other potential options. There are other grant applications that we could make, or other corporate sponsorships apart from a class action lawsuit. And
Yes.
that's where my comfort level lies.
Yeah.
That would be my preference.
Except that
Yeah,
the money is intended purpose of the funds are to pay for infrastructure for clean water.
yeah,
And
and
that's the goals of this board.
So I've not seen that filing or that agreement, and that's also why I asked for that last time. I'd like to, is that not a public document?
no, I just had one off the press release.
Got it, okay, yeah. I would agree with you, David, that, keep your eyes on it, and, when that document becomes public, I'd like to read that. And that also means, I mean, that might be the intent of that settlement, but we've never been told that directly. So, if there is that corporation who wants to set aside funds to provide clean drinking water, that's great. And if there are other corporations, I think we should let that be known also, not simply rely on government funds or grants, but direct gifts.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, yeah, I know you have a lot on your plate, but that's another kind of a third or fourth option.
Well, I mean, theoretically, we are, when we get money from the CREZ,
That's right.
that is, yeah, I mean, it's not a donation, but that is also a funding source for us. And obviously the money that the port and the county are giving too are both resources, but
Mhm.
all of these projects we know are in the millions of dollars numbers, not in the couple $100,000
Mhm.
numbers, so they're big numbers,
Mhm.
so. And like I said, I just want to get people clean water, so.
That's right.
However we can do it, so.
Yeah.
Okay. 4B, any other questions or discussion on 4B? Okay, we'll go to 4C, fiscal year 2027 budget. Let's see,
So, Kevin's not here. He made his budget season and he's a little overextended right now. But this is the same budget I proposed last time, but bylaws say that we adopt in May or June. And so we adopted the fiscal year 26 budget last time, and so I'm just seeking adoption of the fiscal year 27 budget at this time. Again, nothing changed since the last time I showed this to you, that's me, so.
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept? And if I get that, I'll move to accept the presented fiscal year 2027 budget, which has already been looked at and approved. Do I hear a second?
Oh, you made the
I made the
motion?
motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Now is there any discussion? Any questions you want to ask Jared about?
Did we ever get the restricted capital questions resolved?
Kind of. Matt's here, you can talk to
So
that.
we did get the amended letter for the 25 distribution, which was slated for 80%. or 20% of the 400,000 to be allowed for operational uses. And Marta is reviewing on the other one just to make sure, the minutes aren't very clear, actually. And so we're gonna have to go back to the recording and just confirm on that 400,000. But I remember what the discussion was. Minutes aren't showing that, and so we gotta go back to the recording. But we do have the budget right there that's shown for 2027 shows an operating, operating services of 250, 240, 241. Our contributions of 60,000 from each entity plus the 80,000 is $200,000 in that amount. So we have enough to cover that with the overflow from this one. The 250,000 for engineering and miscellaneous are capital, so we should be able to use that from CREZ 3 distributions and other sources.
I think I heard Marta's waiting on an order from our board before she writes checks. On this one? Press for it. Sorry, press for it.
I'm like, oh, let's move then.
Shared one thing.
I think we've actually already received the check. Then that's how we have the award letter that says that it's constrained, because she sends out the reward letters with the checks. Yeah. She did. She fixed it for the 25 distribution, which also is limited. We don't have the one for the 20s.
Yeah, we don't have it.
The recent.
We don't, because Eileen upstairs
Okay.
just told me that.
Lisa, that's CREZ 2. And it should have been there because I already got CREZ 2. I have some other stuff with the city that will be a person who care about it after we meet.
So if we adopt this, then in CREZ 3, make an adjustment letter?
That's a good question. We can always amend, I know we can always amend a budget for additional resources or even expenditures if we have the funds to cover them. So we can always amend the budget.
I'm not sure, Matt, could you reiterate where we're at with CREZ 3? Because CREZ 3 is clear cut. I mean, CREZ 2.
So, for CREZ 2, at the meeting on February 9th,
Yeah.
there was discussion and I had made a request to
Yeah.
open that up. The first motion was to allow, 20% of the 2025 to amend that. We have received that letter from Marta today. I have a copy of it, didn't print it off because of this game. The other one was there was then the distribution for 2026 that happened on February 9th, just from CREZ 2. There was ongoing discussion, and at the end, they're like, well, just take off any limitation off that 400,000 and just let it go. And but the minutes don't reflect that comment and that motion.
Yeah, okay,
And
so.
so we have to get the recording and go through that just to verify. Then CREZ 3, there was no distribution to Clean Water Consortium for 2026. 2025, we have the 1.5 million from that, and that's been received and it is constrained for capital infrastructure use.
Does anybody know, you said a letter from Marta?
So when she sends out the checks, she sends out an award letter that specifies it. And in it, it says it's for use for capital infrastructure projects.
Okay, so she does that with like the 600,000, well, it wasn't that, it was 400,000, I think, to the cities each year. Does she send you that, Aaron?
Yes,
You get a letter that says.
I get a letter and then it cites whatever order that
Okay, okay,
enterprise zone signs.
okay.
I don't get a copy of the order, I just get
The letter.
the letter and it, it speaks to the order number. Yes, and
Well, I generate the orders.
I know that, but we don't get.
And it doesn't specify any, so that's something that MARTA
It's on the letter.
must do, yeah.
That was the April 7th meeting for Crest 3. That we were still waiting on,
But
I believe.
I don't think there was any money, was there?
Dispersal of funds was on the agenda.
For the, clean water, was there?
Yeah, it was not approved for clean water from Crestwood.
Yeah, Crest Street, it was only the Boardman area and all the other entities didn't get it. On Crest Street, because it was like $1 million, it was very constrained. For the distribution for Crest 3 on the April meeting.
Right.
So none of us, we didn't get any of that, nobody did. But it's Crest 2. For 26 that he needs to get cleaned up, that order/letter, right?
So who's on first on that issue? Should it be Jared that asked for clarification?
Matt is already taking
Okay,
care of it.
okay,
Matt and I are back and forth with emails.
okay,
So-
okay, all right, I just,
And I did ask the question, if, do I need, and this is just, maybe you guys could tell me, because Cres 3, we don't currently have a distribution. Is that something I need to go advocate for? I don't know.
There won't be any until a future meeting. I don't think
Yeah.
there's anything coming up, right, Lisa, for Crest 3.
No.
Nothing of the foreseeable, at least for 4 or 6 months at least,
Okay.
right?
Their annual distributions have been made.
Okay.
So we just need to be ready to come at it again next year.
Watch it.
and what's next year, 2027 or later this year?
It'll be, it's usually what, David, in February through April, Lisa, somewhere in there. The
It used to be in
distribution.
December or January. so
I know it's moving
We're
though.
slipping a little bit. Gotta get back on schedule.
Okay.
I just asked Eileen to check on the balance from OHA that's available to the Clean Water Consortium.
I would say though, Jared, if you're looking for some direction on that, on Cres 3, I would say that, yes, I think it makes a lot of sense for you to yourself track that as much as you can. Just get on the mailing list, et cetera. And did I just step on your toes? Okay.
Matt was already in doing it, so that's why he.
Yeah.
Since I was involved in the request in February, I figured I should be the one. following
Yeah,
up on it.
that's right. Yeah,
Cleaning
that
it up.
makes sense.
Technically, I wasn't hired yet in February.
Okay, got it. Okay. It's all good, but.
Yeah.
It's called an insurance tail.
Well, I'd like to call for a question on the budget approval. Are we done?
Did you decide if
We
we
have a motion
adjusted?
and a second. So I just call for the question. You guys done with the discussion? Is what I'm waiting for. Okay.
Well, just to answer Kelly's question really quick. The Cres 3 and most of what's in the funding is capital projects, infrastructure related. Like the state grant, the 2.8 there, this is just stuff, and these other things, so they wouldn't affect anything until we have projects to spend money. There.
So is the question, Kelly, if we vote on this,
How easy is it to get that change?
or if we vote on it, we can receive it? And if there's any complications about receiving it, then we don't receive it, or we can
We just
find a
can't spend it.
resolution. Can't spend it, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, I deliberately put placeholders for local grants and interest, even though we can't do interest unless we have invested money. And the local grants, I don't know, we just put a placeholder on there so we can receive the money.
Receive something, okay, that's good. Okay. I'm comfortable. Are you okay?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carried. Yep. Now we got up next. C, D, resolution for public records policy.
So getting our first public records request, we learned that we didn't have a policy in place. And so just trying to rectify that with a policy, and asked Eileen, who obviously created this for us, and then I updated it with some additional information. Well, just, I took the, this is boilerplate language, if you will. It's comparable to anything anywhere. And then the amounts, I already noticed that there was a typo I did not finish. Under the bullet point for under fees, copies of public records, copies shall be certified for an additional charge of $3.75, not $1. So I just missed that. It says $3.75 in parentheses, but I forgot to write it out. And then those are I actually took those numbers from the county.
Okay, same as county.
Yeah, these are the county costs. And then the 95 is the 90 and research fees, that is my contract, so that's why I put that number on there. Most of them actually have a lot higher number because most people are being paid more money to do that, so.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you putting this together, and if it's the same or very similar to the county, I'm supportive of it.
How much are our research pieces? It seems like isn't there a statute?
We also have a policy. I don't believe we charged anyone. We did one time years ago, but
And really, we don't have to charge anyone, it's depending on that's always the caveat, even at the beginning of this language, like depending on the nature of the request. Depending how big the scope of the request is you have to give them a quote, if you will, or approximate cost. Or the board can just decide that we're not gonna charge anything, so.
So that's gonna be a board decision.
Well, it could be, like, again, you, as your agent, I would put you on this, just like I did on this last request, this is what is being requested, and you can decide.
That seems like pretty steep, $95 an hour for anything more than 15 minutes.
In 15-minute increments, but yeah.
Yeah, that seems.
Well, the county's fee is like $115, and depending on what, and it's even more if you ask for records specific to other things like the clerk's records related to the clerk or it's a lot more detailed in the counties because there's a lot more departments, but like if you're asking engineers, or legal, it's a number that's like 250, 300, so.
Yeah, I think what I interpret, I don't wanna make it so expensive that it discourages somebody from having a request, and, not average person can afford to go out that.
Yeah, now this just gives us the language to be able to do that if we feel it is necessary. Again, go back to the very beginning, the board can decide to not charge anything.
And where is that clause?
Reduction or waiver of fees on page 28.
Yeah, there we go.
Which
So it's the
28?
end, not the beginning.
Just 28 of 29, okay.
The board or consortium manager may authorize a waiver or reduction in fees if doing so is determined to be in the interest of the public, so public interest.
One clarification, Chair,
Yes, sir.
just to let you know, I mean, having the board waiver, I mean, as an option there, I would, if I could recommend, I'd still give the managing director the option to do it just because of the time requirement for turning around some requests. I mean, otherwise you might have to pull a special meeting and fully in to review requests. which if you'd like to, that's possible, but, and we've got a lot of information out there on the website. I mean, all our meetings, all the documents that we publish. It's really, when we get into billing, it's because, like this recent one, 1,000 pages, over 1,000 pages of documents. You all had to go through all your emails, go through that. That was a pretty heavy haul, and, you know, but all our other reports and that we're trying to make it as transparent as public accessible as possible.
And we had, sorry, Chair, we had to pay IT, or each of us had to pay our own IT departments to do that search. Is that right?
For some reason, I didn't task my IT department, but,
I don't,
Some
I
other
am my
people
IT
just wanted to-
department.
Okay.
Literally.
Well, I had so few that weren't, as you said, already shared. If it was anything between Matt and the board, our staff was about that big.
Matt was the winner. He had the most, but they expected. And then I also went through with a fine tooth comb based on what Eileen asked. Well, she reviewed it, but then said, hey, these things you need to redact, or these things you need to remove. Part of it is the some of you included records that were if it's CC to Eileen, that's no big deal. But things that were directly to Eileen and Eileen directly to us in any way are protected. And
I see.
even if they're harmless, and she said, you just wanna, if you let one document through, then theoretically they can make an argument that you should be able to let them all through. So she wanted to be really careful to protect the client's attorney privilege. So again, that was just part of it. It was probably about 40 hours of work on that. Because I literally went through every single document that you guys sent me.
So Chair, could we hear from our advisory board since they are the public?
Sure. What do you think?
Put you on the spot.
If somebody, you know, they want.
Yeah.
Purpose, what do you
No,
think?
I think that it should be up to your guys' discretion. If some big person's asking for all this stuff and it's gonna take him a lot of work that we're paying for, then they should have to pay for it, but it should also be at the discretion of you guys. If, like how it says in the thing, if it's the best interest for the public to have the information, then we should be able to waive that fee. But I think that should be a decision made before they get a quote, like, we're gonna waive this for you.
Well, sometimes requests come in and they're very specific and small, and those others in this case was very broad. It was, they wanted all communicate, you guys know. So, that's why it took a little bit more time. So, and we don't have our own server, like we're, you know, it's not like I could just ask an IT to go pull all of it from all of us from all these places. And I tried to get more specific in guidance, but.
And I don't really know, what anybody would be asking for specifically or for what information, but like you said, anything that we have is on the website. People have minutes, they have the Zoom meetings and stuff, but.
You might have already hit on this did Eileen vet everything?
Yes.
And did she charge us just a flat rate?
I'm
Hourly
sure she
rate?
did. We haven't got her invoice
You
for it
didn't have a special, public records request, right, okay.
She vetted them pretty quickly. She just said she stuck them through a program that pulled up particular keywords and her name and stuff like that, so.
So I have a question. Under research fees, would somebody get charged for your time to research and Eileen's time?
Well, again, that's up to us, but no, that amount I put down based on me.
Okay.
It says. it's
The
low-
next
some
block, I think, says attorney fees.
Oh, the attorney fee is separate. Okay.
And again, I just want to point out that technically we don't need to pay anything, and what it is.
Just a point of information, we cannot bill back any time from lawyers.
Okay.
That's in ORS. We
Okay.
cannot, we can do it for staff, but any lawyer review of the document is
You eat
not
it.
reimbursable and, or chargeable.
Oh,
is
so
the-
we need
is
to
the
strike
request.
that clause then?
Yes, you cannot do that.
Okay.
I'm just
Okay.
flat. You can't do it.
Okay. On page 27 of 20. So I'm curious, since you borrowed this as a boilerplate, that
Yeah.
must be in other,
Yeah.
County might want to
Might
go back and
need
look.
Actually, just to let you know, our county one is not well written and we are looking to revise it. Our outside counsel has given me boilerplate for us to bring to the.
Well, in
commission soon.
counties, cities, municipalities, and maybe the board or the board too, usually you have a fee sheet. Your adopted fees are where everybody sees these things. We don't have that, right? There's nothing. That's where this is normally taken care of, but we don't have a fee sheet, we don't charge fees, and so that's why we needed a policy, because we all of a sudden had a big request, so.
So we're also supposed to put this up, right? Is that correct? Has to
post
be,
it on the website.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
posted.
Yeah.
of how they go about it and who they send it to, and that's all gonna be on there.
Hey, Matt,
Once we have a policy to post.
Yeah, right.
I had a quick question for you. Don't some of our, offices or departments, like, Bobby's, the clerks, don't they have a separate fee schedule?
Well, we have a consolidated fee schedule that pulls all theirs in, so when we just last did it, if Bobby had hers in, Mike had his, they're all consolidated under that Morrow County consolidated fee schedule.
Okay.
So, we capture the fees for wedding and whether it's on-site, off-site. It just, our public records policy is not as robust as it should be. At the county. And non-existent here, but should be remedied.
So what was the prototype you followed or the model that this came from? Wasn't the county's?
No, Eileen pulled it. from
Eileen,
her-
okay.
her resource.
All right. Okay.
No, the amounts
Is similar to.
is the county, the county charges
Less.
25 cents for a copy and $3.75 for certification. And then I put the $95, because in the counties, it says specifically, a clerk is this amount, an engineer is this amount. It
Yeah.
has some specifics, and I assume this would be me, so that's why I put
Your rate.
the
Okay.
rate that you guys pay me, so.
No,
Well, I'm comfortable with it. It's not perfect, but I think, there's some expediency here, and I want to make sure that you have the guiding tools that you have for a next agreement. And so, with striking the,
Attorney's fee.
attorney fee on that page, and I guess my, note would be, if it's a de minimis amount, use your judgment if it's 17 minutes or 20 minutes. Sometimes going through the motion of coming up with a calculation is costs more time and money than it's worth, so. Err on the side of being generous and sharing. And really, there's not, most everything is on our website, so. I don't have any more questions.
And I just find that $95 is quite a bit for the review or release or for copying. For someone to make copies for $95 an hour seems incredibly large.
And if it's just copies, it's really not that, if you notice the language, it's about research and that, it's more of digging into the files. And we've seen that, we've had people make a public request for some obscure file that was hidden back down, we had to jump into the court records and that, and so that's where it gets in it. If it's just, you need a file, we make a copy and shoot it out, should be very quick. And that's where we want discretion, not to be able to charge those. If it takes a half hour to throw a couple things, we're not gonna charge them $45. But if we're having to coordinate with the court, clerks or whatever things in the county's aspects, your files won't be that deep, so hopefully you won't have these unless we get these, every email from the establishment of the CWC. That's a pretty big lift.
So then should maybe it say something like if it exceeds an hour, then you start getting charged.
Because right now it's 15 minutes.
This
Yeah.
here says 15 minutes, yeah, which is a
Mhm.
really short period of time.
Yeah,
so
which is
too.
15 minutes is nothing, maybe even 30 minutes, but if it's gonna take him over an hour, multiple hours, then at that point you start
I
getting
think I
charged.
like that language better than 15 minutes.
60 minutes.
Yeah.
We can try with it.
I read this, my question would be, I read this, but, and you already mentioned it. The final say is with the board, this board.
No,
Right.
either the
Yeah, with me
manager
or the
the-
board.
Yeah.
Tell me, is it all or nothing, or is there a slide in fitting on board?
Well, so the way it works is actually they make the requests, and if we think it's going to be a significant request, we tell them how much it's going to be. And they actually have to prepay. So that's where,
Oh, okay.
and so in that, that's where you can also make the decision, like, you know, it's gonna come out to $200, and we could say, never mind, we're just gonna eat the $200, no big deal. Or maybe, you know,
No, but that's gonna require, if you get a request, don't you have to give a quote within a definite amount of time?
yeah,
So
that's also part of it.
that's gonna require a board meeting.
Not if we authorize him to make the decision to
Yeah.
whether or not to charge or not charge.
And the notices are, you have 5 days to give notice that you received the request. And then 10 days from that notice to fulfill the request, but if you can't meet it within 10 days, like I've CC'd you on the, well, some of you on the email, not all of you. I have extended, I've said, hey, we're still waiting on some things, and you made the request when nobody was in town, so on a weekend. So, so we have, we have some wiggle room. There's not like a hard and fast deadline, as long as you have a good reason why it isn't meeting the deadline, so. So you still have some wiggle room, and part of that too is if you need to ask for clarification, which I attempted to do, ask for clarification on the request. Then technically the clarification technically resets as well. But again, as long as you're transparent and you're open in your communication. So,
I'd like to change that to an hour.
The ports, I'm just looking at the ports, it says. If a request for records requires port personnel to spend more than 30 minutes searching or reviewing records. Prior to their review and release for copying, the review shall be based on the staff person's regular wage.
Oh. So assuming you have some intern or support staff, it could be that staff person's regular.
yeah,
And right now you don't.
But it's never gonna be an intern that is reviewing somebody else's records.
Probably, that's right, yeah, that makes sense. So Kelly said 60, Lisa said 30. 30 is good. What is ours, Matt, for the county?
I don't know what I'll my answer.
Okay.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve with the change? Is that the only change?
is
we
it
talked about?
change 30 or 60? I wrote 60, but
Yeah, that's what we,
it's up to you guys.
kind of was kicking back and forth here, so I was gonna get it on the table.
I think in our role that we should be as open and transparent as cheap as we can be
Yeah, support that.
and support that. Yeah.
Is that a motion?
That's motion for 60 minutes and to remove the
Attorney fees.
attorney fees.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay, then moved in second and further discussion, all in favor, say aye. Aye, all opposed, same sign, motion carried. Okay. All right, next up is,
Although I had one thing,
huh,
other business, I'll go ahead, sorry.
other business and public comment.
Yeah, other business, Kevin, he was going to be here with the presentation on the authorization to invest and all of that. He asked if we can just do that in the next meeting, so I'm just, that's been tabled, but it's still out there.
Okay, in you guys'
Matt,
mind,
no.
is other business come from just our manager or from other board members and maybe, advisory? Is that a time to have a general discussion or? Because I'm not crazy about that because you could end up talking about things that the public doesn't know anything about. you know.
Sure.
I mean, you don't usually make a motion we don't, on the county on other business, but,
Hmm.
you know, if you end up in a discussion brought up during other business, the public goes, it's not transparent to me. But anyway, I'm not against other business.
I don't think I don't think, I was gonna say Robert rules, but I'm not positive or confident about that. But under other business, you can discuss things, but you can't take action.
And under Robert's Rules of Order, up here, someplace it should be add or subtract to the agenda
Yeah,
legally.
approve the agenda first.
No,
Yeah, so. or
True,
You can
yeah.
add or subtract to your agenda,
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right, approve.
or even rearrange it if you would like.
Mhm.
Sometimes you wanna put something at a different spot to really talk about it before you make that decision.
Yeah, I can throw that on there.
Okay. Other business? No, okay. Public comment, now,
Do you guys want to approve the agenda? That's what usually happens. It's like right after you approve the minutes, you then approve the agenda for the meeting, or no, you actually do the agenda first.
Mhm.
Before.
And then, it's
I
more
prefer-
formal, I could go either way.
I could do either way. We can always add it into other if we really wanted to, or.
Sure. I think the way you presented it this way is nice, it works.
I can just throw it on as it's another thing, and I can take other business. Because then if you're just approving, you just add it as a business.
So sometimes we have old business and new business, but other than that, that's
Mhm.
the.
What if we had, as a board member or members, we had some new topic we wanted to raise? Would that be new business other?
Oh, you would add it to the agenda then.
Yeah, or email me before the
Yeah.
meeting's coming up.
Okay,
Cause you can always add to the
Yeah.
agenda even.
okay. Okay,
how late what's our deadline for getting something on the agenda?
Friday, the Friday before.
You can change the agenda before the meeting.
Yeah, we could change it.
Yeah.
You can even change it at the meeting. Like that's,
Well, yeah.
this is your meeting, like that's the whole point, but Friday is when we're trying to send it out. Sometimes it doesn't happen on Friday. We're waiting on a few other things or we're out of town or whatever, but Valerie sometimes has to take her computer home
yeah,
and send it out on Saturday.
right, you might wanna check with Valerie before you extend that.
I have, that's why we're laughing about it, so.
He's great, but
He's not laughing at all.
No, yeah, I wouldn't be. Okay, you two work that out. and let us
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
Friday,
Yeah.
yes, Friday at noon would be great.
Okay. Good.
Okay, next up is public comment, and we'll take public comment in the room. And then, anybody on Zoom, you raise your hand, and if we have somebody, then I'll explain the rules. If not, I won't do it. Is there anybody in the room that has public comment? Is there anybody on Zoom who would like to make a public comment? Please raise your hand. Do you see anybody?
No?
Okay. Hearing none. Then, public meeting adjourned. There we go.